We are now about 9 months from next year's Michigan primary, and there is certainly a crowded field of candidates seeking to succeed Governor Gretchen Whitmer when she concludes her second and final term. Among those candidates on the Republican side is Anthony Hudson, and we are pleased to have Mr. Hudson here for a conversation. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me.
You and I met last year when you were running for Congress. Had a very nice conversation afterwards. You were running, I think at that time, and even before that, you had tried to run for president, and were running what many people thought was probably a very unlikely campaign because you were a relative unknown. You have really turned that into a positive over the course of these three campaigns that you've run. Tell everybody a little bit about your background first, for those who aren't familiar with you, and why you've decided to run for governor.
Absolutely, Michael. Well, so I'm just a regular guy, right? I'm a truck driver. I'm a family man. I have two children, 17 and just turned 15. I coached baseball for a while. You know, I've driven truck for 21 years. I'm a family guy. You know, we go camping, we go fishing, we go hiking. We live an average life, and you know, we got into the political world about 3 years ago, as you mentioned. We jumped in that presidential race just because we wanted to prove a point that when the people of this country are fed up, you can stand up and run for office. You have every right to stand up and run for office here in the United States of America. And if you want it bad enough, you'll put your name in the hat and you'll do what you can. And unfortunately, due to the logistics of the presidential race, we were able to fully endorse Donald Trump and support him, as we always have been. And then we got into the congressional race, and I learned a lot. I mean, the 8th congressional district is a consolidated area, unlike the country. And we were able to get around, get our message out. We raised about $136,000. My opponent spent $2.1 million to beat me. And I think we resonated a lot with the people. And by the time the primary was over and I had lost to Paul Young, we decided we were going to step back and let the general play out and not interfere in politics. And during that time, we had almost 500,000 emails. Don't give up, Anthony. Don't quit. If you're a fighter, stay in the fight. Run for something else. And then one email stuck out specifically from a gentleman up in Benzie County: run for governor. And I took about a month to think about it. And by December 10th or 12th, we were already filing our statement of organization and putting together what is now probably the most popular platform in the state of Michigan.
I was going to ask you this later. I'm going to ask it now, though, because you brought it up. How have those previous campaigns shaped what you are doing now in this run for governor?
Well, as an average guy, you get into politics, you don't really know what you're doing in the beginning. You know, you learn by your mistakes. You know, people are very willing to offer the criticism, and we took all that information in. We absorbed it all during the congressional run. We realized what we did wrong. We were lacking in funding. We were lacking in literature and things of that nature. And I was always a big advocate saying money doesn't mean everything, right? It's the message, not the money. Well, in today's world, I realize that money buys name recognition, and you need money to campaign across the state. And in a little bit, if you'll let me, I'll tell you guys the specifics. We just filed our second report. We are the least funded campaign in the state of Michigan. We've raised $36,000 in 10 months. But we've driven 24,000 miles across the state. We've been in 11 Lincoln dinners, 17 parades, 62 counties, 66 speeches, and I think it was 13 or 14 festivals that we've been in. So I'm proving to the people that when I talk about cutting the size of government, cutting the budget, that I can run on a small amount of money and get the biggest impact. And right now, like I said, 24,000 miles, and all these places we've been, we've only spent like $24,000.
But as you talk about some of these numbers, we know that a lot of what goes on in terms of getting a message out these days on the political campaign trail, a lot of it happens on social media. And you were telling me you've got some phenomenal numbers on social media.
Absolutely. So 9 months ago, 10 months ago, I had a Facebook page. And it was relatively small. It had a couple thousand followers, and we'd get 500 views a month, 1,000 views a month. And I'm proud to say that over the last 90 days, we've hit 20 million views on Facebook alone. That doesn't count the million views on TikTok or the couple 100,000 on X and Instagram and YouTube as well. So we are known as the internet candidate. Just driving here this morning, I live in Grand Blanc, not far from you. I had 3 truckers and 1 SUV roll down their windows and pump their fist, like, keep up the fight, we see you. And knowing that people see me when I'm out on the road, it tells me that my message is resonating and it's really getting out there. And the key factor to that is we haven't spent 1 penny on social media. Unlike my opponents are probably throwing money to boost ads or put up commercial ads on social media. We don't do it because we have such a large following that people are engaging. We get about 200, 300,000 people a day checking out our social media.
I think folks would call that organic.
Organic, yeah. That's right, organic.
Let's talk some issues here. What do you see as the top 3 issues facing Michigan right now, and how will you address them if elected governor?
I think 3 is too small of a number, Michael, but I'll give you my opinion. The property taxes in the state of Michigan have got to be eliminated. People come to the United States, they want to be homeowners, they want to get a good education, they want to be entrepreneurs or what have you. But even American citizens are Uncle Sam's tenant. You can pay off your mortgage, but you are still leasing to the state every single month. And the state has the ability to take that home away from you at any point in time because it's their land, or so they say. We believe that getting rid of property taxes tells the rest of the country, hey, Michigan is open for business. Bring your business, bring your factory, bring your manufacturing plant here, buy the land, build from the ground up. And when they do that, we don't need corporate welfare anymore, which was $4.5 billion last year. We're giving you the opportunity to own your land. When they come back, the people will come back because there's jobs here, good paying jobs, which leads to my second point of eliminating the state income tax. When you don't have a state income tax like Florida, Texas, and the other 10 states that don't have them, those states are always pretty much thriving. They have a good economy, that people are moving to those states. They've got jobs. We need to offer that here because back in World War II, Michigan was one of the wealthiest states in the country. And now we're one of the worst states in the country. So we have to turn the ship around and get back to being a leader in the country as far as productivity and infrastructure and industry. And if we can get those companies back here, we'll get the people back here. And then we're on our way. And those are 2 of the biggest issues that I see. The third one, and this comes straight from the people of Michigan, no-fault car insurance. Michigan in 1975 was an at-fault insurance state, and legislators pushed and adopted the no-fault car insurance, which is the most expensive car insurance in the state. There's 12 no-fault states in the country. We are the highest by 88%. People don't like it. They can't afford it. Just imagine how many people are out there that don't have car insurance because they barely can't afford it. At-fault insurance is about 42% less expensive. How many people are we going to have insured on the road? How much accountability are we going to bring back to the roads when you hit me and you're responsible and you have to pay all of that, right? So we need to get back to what was, maybe take a step back so that we can reform the state the way it used to be. We don't always have to progress with technology and overtaxation because we definitely don't have the representation right now. So that's why I'm running, is to make those 3 changes for sure.
It's interesting. You said you thought 3 was too little, and I was just trying to keep it within the realms of our interview time. But you mentioned 3 issues that have nothing to do with what most of the candidates I've spoken with talk about: education, health care, job growth. You did mention something about job growth, and that's not to say that the issues you talked about, that you think these other ones aren't important.
No, those are obvious issues, right? Michigan's 42nd in the country in 4th grade test scores. Our 3rd graders can't read or write. We've gotten away from cursive writing. So to me, their platforms are the same message from a different man in the same suit. It's the same thing that we've always heard from career politicians, and the people are tired of that. The people across the state are saying, we don't want any more career politicians anymore because they don't have our best interests at heart. And I was at a Lincoln dinner in Jackson, the birthplace of the GOP. And I stood there in front of 160 people, including all the candidates except John James. And I said, we are where we are today because our career politicians didn't do their job 2 decades ago. So if we want change, and I quote Gandhi, if you want true change in the world, you have to be the change you want to see. So I am different. I am fresh. I have different ideas, but I still agree that education, roads, infrastructure, that's every political year conversation, right? We have to get outside the bubble. Donald Trump is such a phenomenal leader. He's bold, he's aggressive, because he stepped out of status quo and did his own thing. And the country's in a better position now than it was just a year ago before he took office. So I'm trying to take the same model and step outside of status quo and present ideas that are going to enrich the people, not the government.
So as we wrap this up, give everybody your 30-second elevator pitch on why they should fix Michigan with Anthony Hudson.
You fix Michigan with Anthony Hudson because the state is broken, and you know it. You know that you are working 2-3 jobs a week just to pay your mortgage or your health care benefits. When we get out of status quo and we get into something new, we can implement change, true change. It's not a change that the establishment or the Democrats are going to appreciate, but then again, who cares? This is about you, the people of Michigan, your hard-earned money staying in your pocket so that we can raise our children and keep them here in the state of Michigan so that they don't get a crappy education here and then go off to another state to further that education or build a family or build a life on their own. I personally, I would love to keep my kids right here. And as my hoodie says, it says, why not? That's Tony backwards. So vote for Anthony Hudson. Why not?
I love it. Listen, I like to end these on a kind of personal and light note. You said you're a truck driver. How often do you have to toot the horn for kids in passing vehicles?
Oh man, I used to do that all the time. Their kids are so intrigued about these big trucks, you know, but I haven't driven trucks since February because I've been campaigning full time across the state. But even now, I get people drive by and I'm tooting the horn in my pickup rather than pulling the horn on the semi. But it's always I don't know any driver out there that doesn't smile when they see a kid do the horn thing. And we do it because we love our kids. We love to keep them happy, and it puts a little joy in our life. So, but it happens a lot.
Anthony Hudson, thank you so much for taking the time to stop by and talk about your campaign. Good luck out on the trail, and I'm sure we'll talk again as the elections draw ever closer.
Yeah, go to electanthonyhudson.com. Check out all of our policies that we're looking to work on. But it is time to fix Michigan for all of us.
Thank you, sir. Mm-hmm.